on the late night. Y'all see me moving? That's because I'm listening to music that y'all can't hear right now. Know what I mean, I want y'all to join in on this late night. The phone lines are open. 914-998-6942 if you want to call in. If you want to call in, we are live tonight. We taking no prisoners tonight. We taking no prisoners tonight. The MTA got to know what it is. We are taking no prisoners tonight. The phone lines are open, 914-998-6942. For everyone who asks me questions, no exaggeration, I get hundreds of messages a day on all of my social media. I cannot answer everyone. If you want to ask me a question, the best time to ask me the question is when I do these shows. And the phone lines are open, 914-998-6942. I want to give a quick shout out to this Milan and Paris thing. What's that? This Milan and Paris thing. Go to milanandparisco.com and check out the fly gear. Shout out to my boy S. King with the We Need More Black Billionaires. We need more black billionaires. Trucker hat. Bed-Stuy Fly. Shout out to Bed-Stuy Fly, man. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Everybody want to know, Tramel, what are you going to talk about tonight? Right? What are you going to talk about tonight? Everybody was sending me an article where the MTA fired someone for dual employment. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the brave conductor who fought back against her attackers who attempted to steal her train keys. It's a rash of that going on the MTA property. The MTA is not taking that serious. We're going to touch on that. We're going to touch on a mayoral candidate who's proposing a new minimum wage. And we're going to start off with the MTA storing dead bodies inside of our break rooms. I don't know why y'all think that I was lying about that or whatever y'all want to call it. Was doing none of the above. Everything I say is the truth. That's why the MTA was afraid of me getting elected, because they know of my power on social media. They know I got the ability to amplify the issues of not only workers, but the riding public, which is millions of people. And I want to tell the riding public, the workers are not your enemies. We are not your enemies. The front-facing employees that you see every day is not your enemies. We don't make these decisions on how these trains run, how these buses run. This is strictly the MTA bosses. Let's be clear about that. We're not your enemies. So I like to raise issues that not only affect the workers, but the riders also. And like I said, tonight, what I want to do is that I want to hear from you guys. You know, we here on the late night. I used to do these late night shows, and we're going to talk about a couple of things. Now, let's get into this first, because I don't know why people was thinking I wasn't telling the truth about this. Y'all see what this article is about. The New York City subway has reportedly been using employee break rooms to store dead bodies. And I want to show y'all this next picture right here. This is a factual thing. This is a factual thing. I don't know why people thought that I was fibbing about dead bodies being stored inside of our break rooms. Right? Now, not only that, when someone jumps in front of a train, nobody's thinking about the traumatic experience that the train crew goes through at that time, right? They don't know how nerve-wracking, like, you have people who act like they go jump in front of the train, people playing. it's not a joke for that train operator, right? Because they are the ones, when someone jumps in front of the train, they have to go investigate it, right? And I don't even know why there has to be an investigation, because you investigate something that when you don't know the cause of, your train going breaks an emergency. Now, if this happens because someone is surfing on the train and the train go breaks an emergency and the train operator don't know what happened, then they have to go investigate. And if they come across a body, I can understand that. But why do train operators have to investigate someone jumping in front of their train and a train go breaks an emergency, right? Now, some will argue, well, maybe it's if it's to see if the person is alive or not. I think that it should always be assumed that the person is alive. Why? Because that train operator is not going to check someone's pulse to see if they're alive, right? Now, 9 times out of 10, the person is not alive. Their body is severed, cut in half, brain matter is. If it's on an elevated structure, blood dripping from the elevated structure, there's times more often than not that body parts are falling on the cars below, falling in the street below. This is all factual. This is all factual. This is not made up. This is not none of the above, right? Now, what I don't like is that the MTA never mentions. As a matter of fact, let me see if I could bring this up real quick. Let me see if I could find the screenshot of that. I'm going to show you guys the application. Oh, here we go, right here. Let me load this up real quick. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. Let me bring that up. I love the way this technology works. If y'all notice that I got an extra pep in my step tonight, it's because I do. I think I'm hearing music, like I'm playing music that y'all can't hear, and I kind of like the vibe. I wish I could play music on this show. This show would be so much more dynamic. It's crazy. But I want to show you guys the application for what I'm talking about, right? Nowhere on this notice of examination does it say that workers will have to investigate people jumping in front of their trains and seeing dead bodies, right? Seeing severed bodies and things of that nature. And some of these jumpers with the after effects, it looks like a war zone. It's something that you see overseas, that you have seen in Iraq, that you see what's going on in with Russia and Ukraine and Palestine and Israel. That's what you're coming across. And sometimes, I mean, I know people that have a problem going to funerals because they can't stand to see a body in the casket. Now imagine you having to do that with someone severed, something you never seen before ever in your life. And the craziest part about it is that the MTA, they will controvert your workers' comp case if you want to go out for PTSD, if you want to go out for trauma. They will controvert your case, right? The irony of it all. Picture that. You're doing this job. They don't even tell you that this is on the notice of examination in the job description. And they purposely do that because they know if they add all of these intricacies of the job, it wouldn't match the pay of the job. So these are all like the trap doors that you come across when you're dealing with the MTA and things of that nature. But in a lot of cases, they will controvert your case doing their work. They will controvert your case. This is the fact. This is a fact. I see Celso ask me in the comments. Shout out to the people watching on Facebook. I'm about to check in what y'all doing on YouTube in a second. Ask me, do I sleep? No, Celso, I do not sleep. I just finished putting in some pet complaints I'm about to, I'm pushing that needle, man. I'm pushing that needle. I'm doing the work that I'm doing the work that wasn't done before. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the work that wasn't done before. Celso asked me, what does controverting mean? Controverting means when the MTA is denying your claim. They are saying, no, this did not happen. We don't believe you. We're going to put you through economic hardship. And this is what they do. They controvert your case to bring, and they controvert cases to bring injured workers back to work faster. So this is not only with PTSD, this is with actual injuries. Like you may have sprained your ankle, you may have torn a rotator cuff. The MTA will deny your claims, they will prolong your surgery, and this has impact to the injured worker. How? When you prolong a surgery, guess what happens? Scar tissue builds up. The injury don't heal properly and all these other factors. And for some reason, I don't know why the MTA has not been brought to court regarding how they process their workers' comp claims. It's beyond me. But hopefully that we could do something about that to get that done. To everyone's watching tonight, can you please share out the video, share it out. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitter, share it out, get it out to your coworkers, and let's make something happen. Let's make something happen. Oh, let me see what I did right there. Yeah. Let's make something happen. Let's get to the next topic. Like I said, the phone lines are open 914-998-6942. This is a late night show. I got more stuff to do. If y'all don't call in, I am gone. Let's touch on this mayoral candidate. I find this to be very interesting. Mamdani unveils $30 by 30 minimum wage push as part of mayoral campaign. The assembly member and mayoral candidate is adding another plank to his affordability platform. Now, Tramel, why are you talking about this mayoral candidate, and how can this help us as not only transit workers but city workers in general? I'm going to tell you guys this. I have a philosophy, right? And it's, if you raise up the bottom, then everything else has to raise above it. I believe that one of the reasons that we have not gotten the raises that we deserve as alleged middle class workers is because the top people at the top, the upper class and the middle class, the gap between the upper class and the middle class continues to grow. And what's actually happening is that the middle class is actually getting more closer to the working poor and the poor, right? So I believe that if you raise minimum wage to $30, then that's enough of an argument for other city workers to get higher raises. Because a lot of us have important jobs, very um jobs that's critical to New York City. Why would I want to be a train operator or conductor or police officer or a EMS technician or a teacher if I could make $30 an hour doing something minimum wage? And we talking about minimum wage. That may not even be the highest. Well, I'll be a stock worker. I'll be a stock worker. If minimum wage, if you coming in and minimum wage is $30 an hour, then what is top pay? Top pay will be more than what a transit worker make, what a sanitation worker make. Just imagine. I believe if you raise up the bottom, everything else above it, specifically speaking, the middle class, the working poor will rise too. So I'm interested to see more of Mandani's 30 by 30 plan. I think that it's very interesting. And I'm also interested to see what the other mayoral candidates is doing as far as labor is concerned. Now, I've spoken to two mayoral candidates. I'm not going to divulge who they are. I'm actually working on doing um, Instagram reels with them, not as an endorsement, but as what are they going to do for transit workers regarding safety. We don't negotiate with mayors regarding our wages, healthcare. We do that with the governor. But as far as NYPD in the system, safety and things that mayors are in control of that affect transit, I want to see what are their thoughts on that. And my interviews with them, they got 3 minutes to explain a platform for us, labor wise. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm not going to reveal who those mayoral candidates are, but believe I am in conversation with them. And it is going down. Moving forward, did you guys? This is crazy, right? All the things that's going on in New York City Transit, the MTA felt they should spend their intention on a map. A map. They feel like they should spend their attention on a map. Let me before I move forward, let me get to a caller. Get to a caller real quick. Caller 6483. You now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Tremaine? It's so calling
So what's
from
going on, bro?
Queens. I'm good. I just want to say that they're very hard-headed, and I'm glad that there's people that want to change the world, like Zora Mandami, who really wants to change, takes on the powers to be. The thing is that it's not about this. I think it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about bold-headed people that want to stay in power no matter what. You know?
Hmm.
They're willing to do anything to stay in power. They don't care about the work. They don't have principles. They don't have rules. And these are the type of people that is you grew up with. Those are the ones that wouldn't help you. They'll watch you fall down. They wouldn't even step on you and step on you ahead. You know what I mean? And they don't want to admit that when they're wrong. They will never admit when they're wrong. They will never admit that they're doing things wrongly. And I feel like they would never make the union. No, not that the union is 100% right on everything, and no one's 100% right. At the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we gotta admit that we're all have faults. And MTA doesn't admit. I don't know if you saw that. Family that is being charged millions of dollars out. The guy out there, he was being charged a whole bunch of
I may have to interrupt you
for
because hold
processing.
on, Celso. I
Yeah,
may have to interrupt you because I'm
honestly.
having that same problem I had with you the last time where your phone don't sound clear.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got you. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't
You
know.
hear me better now?
Sound better.
Yes. That sounds better now?
Yeah, it's better. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Let me correct myself. What I want to say is that basically the MTA never admits when they're wrong. They never will admit that they make mistakes. It's very hard to get them to change course. They continue like they're very bold and they want to continue in the same
So,
trajectory. They don't
your
want to
phone
change.
your
Yeah,
phone is not sounding right again. I can't continue on like this.
I got you. I got you. Don't worry
So
about it. But
yeah,
I
let's
wish
fix
you good luck,
let's fix
right?
it. Let's fix your phone situation because it happened last week too.
Yeah,
But let's fix your phone situation.
I got you. I got you.
Let's figure out what's going on. All right.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. All right, thank you. Thanks, bro.
I don't know what's wrong with cell phone. Um, yeah, so the MTA released some new maps yesterday. I want to show y'all how they revealed this, how they dropped this. Check it out.
Three, two, one. Let's have a map. Not three.
3, 2, 1. Let's have a map. So the MTA thought that it would be good to spending money on a map, revealing a map. Why isn't the MTA revealing new safety policies for the workers? Want to know why? Because a map is way more important than safety in the MTA. We haven't heard the chairman say anything about the conductor who was assaulted and fought off her attackers while working and had to go to the hospital because she was punched in the face. We ain't no reason to talk about that. Why? Because the MTA is more focused on selling you a product of the MTA being safe and new maps and how fast service is and how great on-time performance is versus what's really happening, right? Why don't they never address the true concerns of workers and riders who use this system? Why they never address any of that stuff? Can someone explain to me why this is? Why they never address the issues that really pertain to us? Now the conductor, let me play the video. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play the video of the conductor scrapping, defending herself against one of her attackers. Now, one thing I love about social media is the fact that I'm viral now. I'm all over the place. Salute to y'all sharing out the videos, watching the videos. Without y'all, I would be nowhere, right? But someone who follows me was actually on a train and recorded the little scuffle and sent it to me. So I want to play that video and show you guys some of what happened because in fact, let me say that. Some of what happened because she didn't catch everything as it was happening. So let's check it out.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Shit. Keep up with this. Oh, shit. Can somebody help me? He took my key. Can you do me a favor? Can you go down there and tell my father what happened? No, I don't.
You heard her say,
No, you don't.
you heard her say, can somebody help me? Can somebody help me? He took my keys. Now I want to fast forward. There was a guy on the train. Everybody, he go right there. He was sitting down. How do y'all feel about him not helping out? How y'all feel about that? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not mad at him because when you think about the climate of New York City right now, bail reform, lawlessness. Everyone seems to have a gun in the city. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what people got on them, right? I'm not mad at him for not taking action, but salute to those good Samaritans who helped out our sister train conductor fight off those individuals. You know, everybody could quarterback it after and say, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that. We're in a lawless town. Everybody ain't gonna react the same. Some people go fight, some people go take flight. But shout out to the individuals who did help the conductor out. I think the MTA should track them down. I think the MTA should give them a free year of Metro cards or Omni because they got to give incentives. Because the MTA don't have no incentive to protect us. They don't have no incentive to make sure the people who assault us get prosecuted. They don't have no incentive to change policies and protocol. They have no incentives to tell the NYPD to stop lying about hiding these crime stats. They have no incentive whatsoever. Let me get to the next caller. Caller 9291, you now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Jamel? Jermaine calling in. How you doing, bro?
My brother Jermaine, what's on your mind?
Nothing much, man. Well, actually, a lot. First, I want to send up prayers and with that sister gets through and everything. And there's a lot of stuff they just haven't been, just in downplaying. You try to act like the thing is, it was one of the controversial cases, and I just really appreciate all the work and everything you've been doing. Man. It's been great to see about it.
I,
For
I appreciate that.
years,
Thanks, my
for
brother.
years. Know what I mean? But that's all I want to come on and say.
I appreciate you calling in, man. It's always so look, I want to tell y'all about Jermaine out there. He could damn near quote any bulletin, any rule, verbatim, especially when it comes to safety. He's very knowledgeable of what's going on out there. He's a model conductor. Shout out to Jermaine, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Appreciate you too, man. Keep up the good work, man.
Thank you. Thank you. That was Jermaine. I think this made his first time ever calling in. Let me get to the next caller. Uh yeah. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Whew. So yeah, the guy sat there. He did not help. Did not help her. I'm not mad at him. The MTA need to reward the people who did help with a year free of Metro cards. I think that I'm going to email the president and the chairman of the MTA and say, you guys should give an incentive to anyone who helps workers if they getting assaulted. They need to be rewarded. It costs the MTA nothing. That's a kind gesture. If a worker is getting assaulted and someone comes in and help, they should get lifetime Metro cards or Omni cards. Facts. They should get Omni cards for a lifetime, minimum a year. So I want to tell the MTA, the president, Demetrius Critchlow, and MTA chairman, Jan Oliva, if anyone helps a worker during an assault, they should get a lifetime pass on the subways. If y'all don't want to do that, they should at least get a year pass on the subways to travel as they please. Don't y'all agree with that? Show us something that you care about what's happening out here to us on the road, as we call it. Show the people of New York that if they do step up in light of helping a worker during an assault, that they will be rewarded. This is New York City, right? Now, because there has to be a yin and a yang to this. If someone assaults a transit worker, they want to make moves to try to ban that person from the system. So why not create the yang to it, where if someone does help a frontline worker during an assault, that they should be rewarded with a year free pass on the subways. I don't think nobody would disagree with that, right? I don't think nobody would disagree with that. Would y'all disagree with that? I don't think so. I don't think so. I didn't think so. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen, Crislow and Liba. Let's make that happen. Oh, let's get on to the topic. I mean, I must have, no exaggeration, no exaggeration. I must have received at least 53 messages with this topic, right? We're going to read through it, we're going to examine it, and we're going to give you guys some insight on how these things work in the MTA regarding dual employment. Yeah, we're going to talk about dual employment. The MTA is 100% out of control. So, MTA worker fired for running sneaker resale side hustle on the clock. Very interesting, right? Let's read the article. Why not? An MTA employee was fired for using work resources and time to run his personal sneaker resale side hustle, the Office of MTA Inspector General announced on Thursday. An investigation found that the employee, a former MTA headquarters computer support analyst, conducted a personal business reselling sneakers during MTA work hours on an MTA computer and using an MTA vehicle. He also had two other unauthorized side jobs, a package delivery company and snow removal service. The investigation was launched after the Office of Inspector General received an anonymous complaint about the sneaker side gig in 2023. This was one of 4 jobs the computer analyst held, including his 2 other businesses, and a position as an airline baggage handler, which officials said he began months before obtaining approval. The query found that in addition to working at one of his secondary jobs during MTA work hours or modifying his MTA schedule without permission to accommodate his other gigs, the employee accessed sneaker related websites, went through side hustle adjacent emails, and bookmarked over 350 pornographic websites on his work computer. Officials also discovered that the worker's manager inadequately tracked his time, attendance, and MTA vehicle usage, admittedly using the honor system. He received a final written warning that includes a 2-year suspension of remote work privileges and promotion opportunities, and he must forfeit the next 2 general wage increases. The employee brazenly, hold on one second. The employee brazenly used MTA resources for his sneaker business and worked multiple outside jobs without permission, thanks in part to a woeful lack of supervision, MTA Inspector General Daniel Court said. His manipulation of the timekeeping system and breach of trust cost him his job, but put his supervisor on notice. All right, let's unpack this real quick. Let's be honest too. Was the worker right or wrong for doing his side businesses while on the clock doing MTA duties? I would say yes, he was wrong for that, right? Um, was he wrong accessing pornographic websites using the work computer? Yes, that was wrong. Was he wrong for using his side hustle business and the MTA vehicle? Yes. But the truth of the matter is this: the MTA do not want workers to have dual employment. The only people who's really allowed to have dual employment are managers, upper level managers, right? I don't think that nobody at the MTA want to have 3, 4 jobs. But what that is a symptom of is that we are severely underpaid as MTA workers. I don't think anyone wants to have 2, 3 jobs. But as a transit worker, it's very hard to live in the city in which you work because our wages just simply do not keep up with the cost of New York City, especially if you have a family. We seen prior shows where I covered how much a studio apartment, a 1 bedroom apartment costs nowadays, right? Our salaries simply cannot keep up with what's really happening in New York City. And we're forced to have 2, 3, 4 jobs, side hustles, selling sneakers, snow removal, which is seasonal, right? Now, for anyone who's been following me over these past few years, we all know that the MTA, one of the reasons I was written up and terminated was because I started working for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's now the HHS Secretary of the United States. And I told the MTA that I was working there, and they still, I don't even know how it worked. They had to be in bed with the arbitrator. Arbitrator name was Stephen O'Byrne or Stephen O'Byrne, whatever his name is. He could not have possibly have um, brought me up for any type of discipline or substantiated any type of discipline with me when I reported I was working um, for Robert F. Kennedy and reported it to the MTA. Now, come to find out what I've learned during this whole dual employment process, and I want the workers to really understand this. The dual employment activity form, you don't have to be working to be brought up on dual employment or extracurricular activities. You could be the leader of a boy or girl scout unit. You could be the coach of a basketball team or a little league team. You can do some work inside your church. If you did not report that to the MTA, this is a fact. If you did not report that to the MTA, they could bring you up on extracurricular activities or dual employment. This is a fact. I learned this during my hearing, my arbitration during dual employment. The fact of the matter is, if someone has 2, 3, 4 jobs, now I don't know if this particular person is on child support, what their living situations are, what their expenses are. But the truth of the matter is that transit workers cannot survive comfortably off of the salaries that we have now, right? I remember when Pendergrass, who was a former MTA chairman, he was on this board, he was on that board, he was on that, but he was on like 5 different boards, and nobody blinked an eye. But as soon as anyone who's in an hourly position want to get an extra job to throw some extra money in their pocket, possibly put a child through college, we don't know what the situation is. We get disciplined. Now, the caveat between this is because I know some people is probably saying, hey, Trumel, why don't they just fill out the dual employment form? The MTA denies dual employment, specifically speaking to operational employees. So it would make more sense if a bus operator wants to do Uber on a day off. The MTA says no. Why wouldn't you want them to do Uber on a day off if they have a driving job? It makes sense to do a job that you do on your day off for extra money, right? Coincidentally, and this is a separate subject, bus operators. If a bus operator has a knockdown on a bus, and that's someone get injured on a bus, that is reported, that is put on their DMV abstract. The insurance companies monitor the DMV abstract, and guess what happens in turn? Their personal car insurance goes up. This is what the MTA, this is how they function. Picture driving an MTA vehicle, someone accidentally falls on your bus, and then now your personal car insurance is going up. How does that work? This is the only title where your personal liability goes up if something happens with the public, right? Now, why doesn't bus operators have qualified immunity like everyone else in this state? That makes absolutely no sense. Where's the qualified immunity for bus operators? Why are they being affected personally if they get into a situation on company time? Literally, anyone could fall on a bus and raise a bus operator's personal insurance up. They should have qualified immunity. That's bizarre to me. But a worker having multiple jobs is just a symptom of the MTA is simply not paying us enough. And that's the truth. When I first came on this job, oh, MTA equal ATM. I'm still trying to find the ATM. See, this is the part. There's a lot of transit workers faking the funk out there. They not keeping it 100. Oh, I make 140, 150. Killing yourself making that money. Now, I'm not mad at you. If you got to go get it, you go get it, right? I'm not saying nothing about that. But the truth is that we should be making this money on a base salary basis, not doing 70 hours a week, right? Not working 30 overtime hours a week just to make ends meet. Our base salaries should be higher so we can have a better quality of life. People who's making 140, 150, 160, 170, they living at the job. This is a fact. I would never hate on somebody that's going out there to get it, especially legitimately, but there's a misconception that we are making money on this job. Yes, you got to put in a whole bunch of hours to really make the wages that we need to survive in the city. I'm not lying to you guys. This is 100% the truth. It's 100% the truth. Let's discuss it. Somebody call in 914-998-6942. Are we underpaid or are we overpaid? Let's tell how we really make 140, 150 a year. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Our base salaries should be higher. This is a fact. And this is why I'm not mad at Madani about the $30 an hour by 2030. In order for our base salaries to go up, if you make minimum wage $30 an hour by 2030, then what you think happened to our wages? We make a better argument to say, well, if minimum wage is this, and right now I think conductors, if this go through, conductors will only probably be making like $8, $7 more than minimum wage. What would be the sense? Right? What would be the sense? Now I want to tell you guys because I see a couple of anonymous calls waiting in the call queue. I want to be clear. I don't answer no anonymous calls. No anonymous calls will be accepted here. No anonymous calls. You got to call in with your phone number. I'm gonna drop that call. Yeah, call in with your number. Don't block the call because I in order for you to know that you on, I read the last 4 digits of your number. So no anonymous calls. I don't do anonymous calls on the show. But if Mom Donnie unveil and he get elected and he do the 30 for 30, 30 by 30, I'm with it. I'm with it because it's only go boost our salaries up in the long run. But MTA is not ATM. Let's stop hummer stunting. If you are making a whole bunch of money at the MTA, you're either a boss or you're killing yourself on the job. This is a fact. Let's talk about it. 914-998-6942. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But this I want to make it clear, man. I loved before I was terminated. I loved being a transit worker. I love being a conductor. I think it's one of the best jobs. Starting in one part of the city, going to the next part of the city. Man, I miss that job, man. But I have an even better job now, and that's advocating for train operators and conductors, tower operators, flaggers, whatever title falls up under my department. I have the honor of representing them, and I can't thank the people enough who voted for me. I can't thank the people enough. Let's get into a caller. Caller 3747. You now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, 3747. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, this is Brooklyn. Calling from Brooklyn,
Yes. What's on
Brooklyn,
your
New
mind?
York. So, look, I wanted to say this though. Like for the video, right? It seems like from the video, it was fighting for the key. Now, why would you fight for the key? Just hand over the key. There's no reason to fight for it. You know what I mean? That's number one. Number two, the whole situation with this person who had two and three other jobs, um, why would he do it on the job? You understand? You're violating policy on the job and watching porn. You know they're going to hit you with something crazy anyway. Do that off the job. So if you have another job or if you hustling on the side, that would be kind of hard for MTA. Hey, you're fired. You're hustling. Ain't good or something off the job. I think a lot of times what we have to do is we have to be smart about our actions. And if they do come down hard on somebody or whatever, make it tough for them. Make it in a way where you know what, it really, really sounds crazy. Like to the point where it's like it's like for example, the guy is hustling his off the job and they want to fire him for that. I mean, that's crazy. Like you can literally bring that to TV and make something big out of that. You know what I mean? So it was just those things that I wanted to reach out to you about, and that's it.
Let me ask you a question. Are you a transit worker?
Yeah,
Do you think
no,
that you're not a transit worker?
I'm not.
Okay. Um, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a porter.
Do you think you make enough money in the
I'm a
city
porter
to
for a
survive in the
commercial.
city?
Say that again.
Do you think you make enough money to survive in the city.
See. Okay, so look at this. Look at this, right? Because I'm in a union too, right? I'm in 32, right? And there's a lot of things that go down kind of similar as well, right? And no, we definitely don't make the type of money that we supposed to make. But at the end of the day, right? Especially as a black man, I tell you this much: when I go to work, I do my job. I make sure people respect me, and if you don't, I hold them accountable to it. I don't take no shorts, and that's it. Period. I'm not going to say that I never had any problems, but I tell you this much: if you come to me, you got to say something. I'm gonna hold you accountable to, it. And you ain't gonna lie about it because I'm gonna catch you on it. At the end of the day, you want to talk? Go ahead and talk because I'm gonna record you.
Hmm.
Say everything that's on your mind. 100%. I want you to do that. You feel me? So and that's another thing where they catch in where I feel like you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying, because what I just told you, right? You
Hmm.
came back at me with, well, do you think that you're making enough money? That has nothing to do with him on the clock hustling, watching porn. Period. Because at the end of the day, I say this about top school. Nobody puts a gun to your head to work anywhere. You could go anywhere you want, get a job, hustle, do your own. So if you're gonna sign up, follow the rules. Do what you gotta do. Period. Don't make it easy for them. Make it hard for them to get you. Make it extremely hard. Don't make it easy. That's easy. You don't have a leg to stand on. Period. So
I agree. And
you can't come back, with the narrative of, you know, well, he's not making enough money. You're giving them even more ammo to do what they're doing. You got to fight them on something that's strong, not on something that's weak. And I find the same thing happening with um even in my union. You know, in a lot of unions, I learned that you have to come correct. If you really want to play in the game, come correct, and then you could fight. So I just wanted to point that out. You know what I mean?
I agree with your points. You made some valid points. Thanks for calling in.
No doubt, no doubt, brother.
Yeah. That caller made some valid points. Um, I don't disagree with him. I when I read the news article, I said that he was wrong on certain things, but the MTA don't differentiate whether you're doing those things on the clock or you're not doing those things on the clock. There's people who had jobs, dual employment, and the MTA terminated them because of the dual employment outside. I think people don't really understand the true MTA culture, but I agree with everything that he said. Let me get to the next caller.
Jobs, dual
Caller
employment, and the
2520. You now
terminate
live on Progressive Action
of
TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
outside. I think
Hello?
don't really understand the two
Yes.
NBA
Can you
culture. While I
cut me
agree,
down in the background, please? Just talk to me like you
Oh,
that
talk to me on the
sorry.
phone.
Sorry.
Yeah, what's your name? Where
I
you calling
pretty
from?
much just have a corner and I'm a train operator. I don't, want to
You're,
say my name. But I basically have a question. Why is it that
yes, what's your
transit
question?
doesn't have like like a rule? Like I feel like for the Kennedys, that's not something you lost sleep
Hold on,
on. It
sis.
wouldn't cause
Do you
fatigue.
have me on speakerphone? Do you have me on speakerphone?
No, can you hear me?
I hear you better now. There we go.
Hello? Oh, okay. So basically, I feel like them terminating you for the job that you were doing for Kennedy, like it was not something that you were losing any sleep on. You weren't doing, it wasn't like a job that fatigue. Like, what are the basic rules for dual employment? Like, I have a friend that had a business. He did dual employment. They denied him, but it's like he wasn't doing a job where he was losing any sleep. He wasn't doing a job where it was costing him any time. It just wasn't like a tiresome job. He basically had, he wasn't really working. He was same as like with you. Like I felt like, okay, so and how would that affect his job as a conductor? Like he's not losing any sleep doing it. He's not, and then the questions that my friends said they were asking him was like, how much he made. What does that have to do with it? Guys aren't giving you, and you don't want to hustle police officers. I have my brother's a police officer. He works for the mayor, and he also has a side job where he's like, security for another for a company, and that's not a problem. So why is it a problem for a transit worker, especially like I said, it's not like you're doing a side job outside of your house. I even have a friend that has an Airbnb, and they started questioning her. I just heard from another girl, she's doing TikTok, and they're questioning her, like, why are you doing TikTok and uniform? But I see CSS that are doing TikTok, and at work, and no one is saying anything. So I'm just trying to understand, like, what are the basic rules for dual employment? And if you have a business where you're not causing problems. You're still going to work they're not offering us overtime, but you're not allowing us to get money either. Like maybe I don't want to work 6 days and 16 hours a day. I
Let
just
me
want to do my job. I'm sorry.
let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, 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 no
The
problem.
this is the thing. If the MTA can control your finances, they literally control you because there's
Mm-hmm.
no rhyme or reason as to why they deny so much dual employment, right? And they want to know how, like you said, how much money you make. They want to know where you're working at exactly. They don't care if it's on the internet, TikTok, if it's YouTube, no matter what it is. The MTA want to control you. And if you could control how somebody eat and how they feed their family, you literally control them. The MTA don't want the hourlies to make outside money because they control you. Like I know people
Basically,
that
this is.
that they have jobs that don't affect like TikTok. Like I could literally make a TikTok, take 5 minutes to make a whole bunch of money off of it, and the MTA questioning that. That don't make no sense. So I understand everything you coming where you coming from, sis, with this.
But so my thing is like, what are the basic rules for it? Like they have rules. I mean, they've even made our rule book bigger now. So what are the exact rules for dual employment? Should there not be something put in place so that we can follow those guidelines? We should not be turned down for dual employment, especially since they're hiring people off of a list that's been exhausted. People that are scoring 70s, that are on medical holds, people that are have, like felonies. You can't protect us from the public, but you can't protect us from our own, coworkers as well. So we need rules for all of this. It's not fair that we just have to follow their rules, but they have nothing to do with their.
Well, sis, as far as me being your vice president, I want you to hold me accountable because I am going to question the MTA about their dual employment
Mm-hmm.
practices and why it's not fair. So I'm going to
Right.
send them a message send them an email to find out who's in control of that and start inquiring
Okay.
as to why so many conductors and train operators are denied dual employment.
Right. Hmm.
All right. So thanks for
Okay.
calling in.
Thank you. Okay.
Everybody want to call in now. Let me go to the next caller. Caller
Hello.
4771. Now live on Progressive Exit
Yes, sir.
TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Ant. I'm calling from Queens.
How you doing? What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I came across your page, a couple of your videos came on my timeline. I don't work with trains. I work with Long Island Railroad.
Okay.
A lot of the same problems that's going on over there is going on with the railroads. Um, the biggest thing, the last call I was just listening to, employment, they do the same with us. Um, not giving no overtime no more. They exhausting less, want to control our finances, want us to live on 70 pay for 4 or 5 years until they're 30 kids, and they're not giving out the overtime they was giving years ago. Now they have the whole thing with the purchase, got everything exactly where we at. It's not like the old days when the old heads say, "I never took no sick day." They didn't have to show up for the damn job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have to show up to the job, obviously you can hustle outside and make your money, especially if you have a craft. So I just think at this point in time, and I've been thinking about it, I'm thinking about just getting this. I got 6 years right now. I'm thinking about just getting myself listed, getting the hell out of here
What's your
because
title?
they're taking half of our checks and they don't give us any benefit at all. And
That's
it just doesn't make any sense why they don't want to help our channel Libra. I don't know what I don't understand where he's coming from, what he's trying to do, trying to make a job that's good to the city and turn it into McDonald's. When you do
mm-hmm.
that, you're going to continue to have people that are alienated because we're being disrespected. Got people going home with $600 paychecks. How the hell are you going to survive on that in this city? They're not putting no housing aside for us. And none of these mayoral candidates saying we're going to build electric again, build housing for our employees. They don't want to do none of that no more. They don't want to do 30 if you work for the you have because all these other unions are leaving. 79 people, unlimited
Mm-hmm.
overtime. 78 for MTA, they don't get nothing. They want to give us the overtime. They take a couple bad examples, turn it into we can't give no more overtime because homeboy went to Atlantic City 3 days and said he was on the clock. That's like less than 1% of your whole. So I don't know what the change that needs to be done, but it's stressful work piece having to do an important job and they're limiting what other jobs you can do outside. They want to control you the other way around. They don't care about your family, don't care about your bills, don't care about your well being.
I agree. And it sounds like us as workers need to come together in this agency, no matter if we Long Island Railroad, Metro North, or New York City Transit, and throw one big rally um, talking about all the issues that we have in these different agencies. Maybe I'm thinking about something for May 1st in front of MTA headquarters. Let's see how this go work out.
I agree with that, man. I appreciate that and keep me updated for sure.
All right, just pay attention to my page, and I'll be making all announcements there on the Instagram.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks for calling in. It's always interesting when someone from Long Island Railroad call in because we think that let me put this back up there. We think that us in New York City Transit only have the problems, but it be others also. Let me get to the next caller. Caller 8364. 8364. You now live on Progressive Action TV. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, peace, good brother. My name is Tyrone. Uh, At one point in time, I was a bus operator.
You said you was a bus
Uh,
operator or you
and I
are?
want to
Sorry.
thank, yeah, I was a bus operator.
All right, what's on your
And I
mind?
want to thank you for giving the voice, though, brother. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause it goes the wrong way. I was working at the Fresh Pond Depot, and it was just a lot going on over there. You know, uh, 330, 326 going through the rough neighborhoods. You see somebody every day coming back with black eye and in the suits. It was just a lot going on, and those guys wouldn't take any of that into consideration. All they really cared about was the buses going downtown Brooklyn.
Hmm.
Uh, so before I got myself in trouble, I thought the best thing for me to do is just step aside. Seeing ladies coming back to the depot with black eyes, and I'm like, oh man, how does this work? Supervisors, they didn't want to really put themselves in the way, and they won't put their salaries in the way. So, you know, they did what they were supposed to do was get the buses out there. Uh, and it was just real hell to be honest, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
I had a guy spit on me. I tried to protect myself, and I got fired.
For protecting yourself.
So exactly for protecting myself, man. You know. So it's like you got those guys out there and they're not trying to protect you, but then they hold you accountable for trying to protect yourself.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. You know, you put that video up the other day of the young lady struggling to take the keys. I can really see her being held accountable in some shape or fashion to letting the keys go
Nah, not under my watch,
because
bro.
they
Not,
won't
not
find.
under my watch. She gonna be held accountable. She's gonna be held as a hero. We gonna get her an accommodation. All of that.
Well, we,
That's not
we,
happening.
well, we know how you we know how but we know how you feel about it. But it's it's what they trying to do behind the scenes.
Hmm. I got you. She ain't getting disciplined, bro. That's not happening. Matter of fact, we going to court for her Wednesday.
And
Yeah, you there?
and I'm pretty sure she would appreciate that, huh? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure, for
But
sure, for sure.
it's hard to get some help when you need it the most.
Hmm. When did you get terminated?
So I got terminated maybe like 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Uh, and, yeah, 3 years ago.
Okay,
And I have a sour taste in my mouth, man. But it was nothing I could possibly do but defend myself.
I got it. Yeah, this job is diabolical. Like they just want you to be a punching bag to the public.
So that's just what you're saying, brother. That they don't hold nobody accountable but the workers.
Yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
hold
even hold us
nobody
accountable.
accountable but the workers. Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you.
that's a fact. But you definitely give the voice of the people, brother. That's a blessing all by itself, though, man. So whatever you're doing, just keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate that, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you, good brother.
Yeah, thanks. It always bothers me to hear a worker get terminated for defending themselves on the job. Like the MTA literally wants you to be punching bags to the public. They want you to sit there, take your ass whipping, deny your comp, and force you back to work. That's the cycle. Take your ass whipping, Deny your comp, financially force you back to work. Let me say that again for those who may be lost. Let the public put a foot in your ass. We're going to deny your workers' comp, and then we're going to financially force you back to work. That's the cycle. And the MTA can't say that it's not, because I know plenty of people that this has happened to. That 10th floor at 130 Livingston is diabolical. They diabolical. They routinely deny workers' comp cases. I think they really like spin the bottle and say, hey, whatever this land on, we're going to deny this case. Because the rhyme and reason behind some of this stuff don't make no sense. I'm telling y'all, it don't make no sense, people. The MTA is definitely out of control. Oh, I see it's more callers on the line, but you know what? It's 12:20. I have a very busy day tomorrow. I'm over an hour of the show. I want to tell everyone, thanks for tuning in. We will be back. You know what? I'm not even gonna say when I'm gonna do these shows. I got the flyer to say I'm gonna do it Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do the shows as they come up. So just make sure that you guys subscribe and turn on the notification bell. If you're watching on YouTube, turn on the notification bell. You watching on Instagram, turn on the notification bell. You watching on Twitter, turn on whatever you need to turn on to know when I'm going live, because I like to go live spontaneously depending on what's happening and who I may have on. I cannot take no more phone calls tonight, people. Thanks for tuning in. Share out the show. Peace.